Hey everybody, my name is Chris. I've just been introduced. It's a really great pleasure to be here tonight because this is my former university. And I never thought I'd be here as a speaker, so it's very nice and I feel very privileged to be here. I was here for 5 years actually doing anthropology and then a master's. Just a little bit about myself. I'm from Dundee. I've lived there for the last 20 odd years, dare I say it. And I set up a campaign called the Spirit of Independence. And the Spirit of Independence was a campaign I wanted to set up because two key things kept coming up when we were talking to people in the doors or online or through conversations, which was, firstly, we don't trust politicians, and secondly, we're not getting enough breadth of information. So I thought, well, I'm not a politician, that's a good start. And secondly, I started over the last 2 years to look at the variety of organisations that had been set up, and there are a lot. What you'll find with the Better Together campaign, it's been a narrowing down of debate, and what I've found on the ES side actually, it's been a broadening and an enlarging of the debate. So the Spirit of Independence was basically designed around a vehicle and a national campaign to go around Scotland for 40 days and 40 nights. I know it sounds biblical, but the first day it completely poured down all day. So we have a 1950s former military green goddess. And if you don't know what these are, they were basically fire appliances, but really they were to carry water or to pump water to an area being affected by a nuclear strike. They were built in the 1950s in a time of fear. So I had this idea to recreate it into a vehicle for hope and to carry a variety of the different organisations and material that are available today. Now, I'm a business person. I've been in a variety of businesses. I'm also a member of a political party in Scotland just now. It's campaigning for, obviously, for yes. I was in a political party before that's currently in the Better Together, who's campaigning for a no. I don't need to tell you about those. And I also have been out canvassing on door-to-door in Dundee with Radical Independence, which again is more left. So I've heard a variety of discussions. We have in our fire truck about 18 different organisations. So you'll have the Greens and you have the Scottish Socialist Party, Labour for Independence. We also have non-direct political groups such as Women for Independence, Labour for Independence, Business for Scotland I'm a member of, which I'm sure Joe's going to go into more detail. So I'll leave that over to Joe if you don't mind. I have from very little niche groups, we've got CND, for example. Now what's good about all of these ranges, they're open, they're informative, they give you lots of information. Nobody can say there isn't enough breadth of information out there. And you might find that they're conflicting. In actual fact, the biggest surprise to me is they're not. What you find is, in all the umbrella of organisations that campaign for an independent Scotland, is they have a common theme. Now that common theme is very simple. It is, how do you build a good society? Now to me, a measure of a good society is a society that balances between the needs of business, and the markets, and also opportunity, and also those who are not in such a privileged position, let's say, who, for example, the weak, the elderly, the poor and the disabled. Now in the last 30 years, some of you might not be that old, I'm afraid to say, but in the last 30 years there's been an ideological shift, not just in the UK, but also in the West and in the US to the right. And what's happened is we've seen a gradual privatisation of our services. We've seen labour laws being diminished to a point now we have zero contract hours. And you've seen now a situation where we're actually at a crisis point. So I didn't just wake up one day and say, this is what I want to do. I actually decided I had a compulsion, I had no choice. The thought of seeing the NHS, for example, being privatised would horrify both me and my mother, who worked in it all her life. And I learned lots of stories. This is going on in the rest of the UK at the moment. The thought also of the fact that we have one of the worst pensions in Europe. The thought of also students like yourselves here who are looking for opportunities when you finish university, but you can't find them in Scotland. There's an exodus of students year on year, good qualified graduates that can't find opportunities here. So what happened was I took the range of information, we set up an organisation, we're registered electoral commission, and we've driven this fire truck, which is almost 60 years old, for 2,000 miles now for the last 33 or 34 days. I've kind of lost count, to be perfectly honest. And we've been all over, and it's been really a talking shop as much as anything else, where people can come and have a conversation. Wherever their background's from. Not everybody's a political nerd, by the way. Some people want to come along, particularly men, older men incidentally, to talk about the tyres, or to talk about the split rims, or something like that. We have kids come over and they bring their family, they bring their parents as a talking point. Oh, I want to get my picture with a fire engine. But it's been a great opportunity for people to engage. To give you one example, We're in Kirkcudbright, I think about a week and a half ago now, actually 2 weeks ago. Kirkcudbright is a small town in the southwest. They had nothing available, really. You went around, didn't see yes or no posters, you didn't see any sign of any visible activity. Now, it might be in St Andrews a hotbed of activism, I'm not sure, but certainly in the cities it has been. But in the quieter areas, Scotland's well known for being conservative with a small c. A lot of us here were probably brought up told you weren't allowed to talk about money, politics and religion. Kirkcudbright's a very good example of that. We went that morning, the school, they had banned, believe it or not, 16 to 18-year-olds who are looking to find out information about the most important decision in their lives. They had banned it in their school. So neither yes nor no, no badges, no nothing. The teachers couldn't talk about it. We took the truck and we parked it there in the morning. It's just one example of how it's created a talking point. Took it there in the morning, we were a little bit late, it's 10 to 9. We left at 10 past 9, very little interaction, nobody was talking. I thought it was a complete disaster, frankly. We went down to the harbour with the local Yes group, we set up our stalls. Within about an hour or two, we had about 30, 40 people around us at any one time. I thought, this is interesting for a small town. And it was a lovely day like it was today. What was going on in the school was quite the most interesting of all. What had happened was, one or two teachers had seen it. In their coffee break between periods, they'd went to the room and one teacher said to another, did you see that blue truck out there? Another one said, yeah, I did, I quite liked it. And the third one said, yeah, I thought so too, I'm voting yes. They went, are you? Really? Yeah, I am. Why? And then the conversation started, and it went right round that room. What happened after that was, these teachers went out into their rooms, especially the 16, 18-year-olds, and started the conversation. Did you see the blue fire engine? Yes, we did. I really like it. Can we find out more information? And by 1 o'clock at the lunch hour, we had about 30 or 40 kids come down with 4 teachers wanting to get information. So one of the things it's been great for is just to get that talking point. The other thing it's been great for, of course, is we kind of arrange information, so nobody can't say they haven't got enough. So is anybody here tonight who would like everything and anything in terms of the debate, come and see me. We've got another week to go to make the most important decision in Scotland. I'm just looking at our time. Most important decision in Scotland. Probably the most important decision we'll make politically in our entire lives. We have an opportunity to revitalise our society, an opportunity to reconfigure how we look forward to how we build our society again. If you think it's doing well, let me give you one figure I just read in the Glasgow Herald 2 weeks ago. Although the economy has doubled in Scotland in the last 30 years, so has poverty. And if that's not enough to jolt you out of where your position is right now, no matter how comfortable you are, I think you should reconsider. The students today were speaking and someone were asking me, well, I don't really know. And I said, well, let's put it this way. In 2 years' time when the cuts come in, next year and a year after, and you're forced to pay tuition fees of nearly £9,000-10,000 a year to come to university, would you be here? Because I know for myself, as a former student here, I wouldn't have been here. I came from a fairly poor background, and having the ability to get a free education is one of the most important things we have. If you're in need of health at some point in the future, do you honestly want to be paying for everything that you have? There was choices made before the Second World War where people died essentially because they couldn't afford to go and see their doctor. So we have an opportunity really right now to reconsider where we are. And a yes vote, I can assure you from all the umbrella organisations that I've seen, I've not found one that wants to privatise NHS, not one that wants to bring in tuition fees, not one that wants to keep Trident, incidentally, not one that wants to continue this war of austerity. It's an ideological decision from Westminster, and it's one that you've got the opportunity to change. We have the resources, we just need the political will. So every one of you here votes yes, and you tell all your friends and get them out campaigning, because campaigning really works. If you haven't been out before, Scott here I would suggest you come and speak to, and you get out over the next week, and you will enjoy it if you've never done it before. Okay, thank you.
Dundee crossed the open and right in the port of Leith. They're going to ask the people, is independence best? I'm thinking bonnie Scotland, that the answer could be yeah.